So it's officially 5 o'clock.
Okay, let's do
Yeah,
this.
so welcome everyone to this broadcast from Thrive India. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Pinky Daga, CEO from Thrive Art and Soul. And today here with me, I have Nidhi Pandya, who is now whom I like to think of as our in-house Ayurvedic
Of
expert.
course.
So welcome Nidhi, and
Thank you,
she is
Pinky.
tuning in from America. So thanks for waking up early for us, but from what you just told me, this is late for you, which is 7:30
It's not
a.m.
late.
Maybe
It's okay. It's mid-morning. It's mid-morning most days.
mid-morning at 7:30 a.m. Okay, so I am definitely going to crack this system because my morning is also sometimes not 7 a.m. Which is so bad. And so Nidhi is here to talk about one of our most favorite topics, and that is sleep, right? So, how many of us suffer from sleep disorders, not getting good enough sleep, restless nights that really hampers our productivity? Um, I think everyone understands now is that Ayurveda and holistic practices really teach us how to integrate with our own natural body rhythms and our own natural systems. So I'm very excited to ask Nidhi every question possible about sleep. Uh, Guys, stick with us. Please put your questions on, and we will try and get to as many of them towards the end of our session. Right, Nidhi? We're going to take
Absolutely.
time in the end to do Q&A. And right now, so Nidhi, tell me how to hack the sleep thing.
Right. Now, of course, that's a really broad question. But the first thing that I want to say is
Yeah.
that a lot of people think that sleep is about the night. Sleep is actually about the day. So, how you go through your day
Okay.
will determine how your night goes.
All right.
A lot, basically, the first misbelief that I want to clarify is people
Yeah.
think they can do whatever they want in their day, but
Yeah.
once it's night, they should have a magic button
Right.
and they should click that magic button and then they should fall asleep. And when that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
they're like, oh my God, I have insomnia
Exactly.
or sleeplessness. But honestly, that is not the case. It's because you've not helped yourself enough in the day to
Right.
create that, right? So, Pinky, the first thing that I want to do is talk about all the components that go
Okay.
into sleep,
Okay. All
right?
right.
So first we
Yeah.
have to understand sleep.
Right.
It's
Let's
not
understand
magic.
sleep. Yeah.
Yes, it's koi magic button nahi hai. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's supposed to be, right? You're supposed to just crash, get into bed
yeah,
and crash. But
we
in,
feel that we can do
yeah.
anything we want in the day, but we should
Yeah.
just crash in the bed,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And before I even start, right? So Pinky, I want to tell you that growing
Yeah.
up, even as a child, I didn't sleep well, right?
Okay.
I
All
was
right.
not a great sleeper. I would say
Right.
for the last 17 years, since I've
Yeah.
understood sleep,
Uh-huh.
I can sleep on the floor. I can sleep in the plane with my two girls falling on me and I'm falling asleep, right?
Okay. I
Because
think
once you
everyone hates you right now. But you're going to teach us how all of
not
us how to
really.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I at least want everyone to understand the mechanism
Yeah.
of sleep. So I know there is a request to speak in English and Hindi both. Is that what I try?
Um, well, let's stick primarily to English, but a few things you can just clarify which are
Got it.
important in Hindi. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. So we'll do
Mm.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
done. So the first thing we want to know about, I want to tell you about sleep is so sleep is dictated by
Yeah.
by a certain neurotransmitter in
Right.
your brain, in the lower part of your brain, which is called melatonin.
Right.
So actually, your
Yeah.
body has given you that ability of two buttons. Like you wake up, there is one happy neurotransmitter called S. I'm just going to call it S. And when
Right.
you sleep, you need M. But
Right.
M or melatonin is not just going to come on just because you say, hey, now I want to go to sleep.
Right.
So there
Right.
are a few things, right? I'm just
Right.
going to simplify them to
Okay.
three main things
Right.
that will help you to turn on the melatonin switch. I'm going to call it the
Okay.
melatonin switch, which puts you to sleep. So the three things that help that switch is this.
Okay.
The first thing that happens is that your body like your eyes are very important. So your
Right.
eyes will sense dim lights. And I'm going to use eyes first because that's the one that's most compromised these days.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the minute a certain kind of dim lighting hits your retina,
Right.
it tells your brain again, it's directly connected to that part, and it
Right.
says, hey, it's gotten dimmer.
Right.
It's time to switch on the melatonin switch.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
very slow switch, right?
Right.
Imagine one of those power switches which you have in your house circuits, which take you have to really push, 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 and then it goes on. So it's a very slow acting switch. So it needs that dim lighting, and then that message goes to the brain. But so the dim lighting is the first thing. The second thing that it needs is that your nervous system needs to shut down.
Right. And so that's where we screw up, right?
That's where we screw up. But it's not only that. Like a lot of times people feel like they have a slow nervous system, but they have bright lights in their room and they don't sleep well, right? So that's why or they're on their screen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination.
It's a combination. So that's all three things. You need to do all three things. So first is the dim lighting. Second is shutting down your nervous system. And the way I define this is, right, your car literally is going at a very full speed the whole day. Right. You can't just put a sudden brake to it.
Yeah.
Your nervous system has to start slowing down in the evening. It starts 3 hours before bedtime.
Right. Okay.
So you got to start doing activities which are putting the brakes on gradually. Right. When you do that, then your nervous system, then the melatonin switch goes on very, very nicely for you. Okay. Because your nervous system and your melatonin are connected to each other very deeply. Right. That's why people who meditate, right? People who meditate, you know, it's like they're able to do tracking on their nervous system. You know, in the olden days, we had videos, and then you just do tracking. So that's what you have to do to your nervous system. The third thing, which people don't understand, is that everybody's body has a rhythm.
Right.
Your body likes memory and predictability.
Right.
If you can give yourself, your body, as the same time, and of course there's an ideal time to go to sleep, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
If you can give your body that predictability on a daily basis, already your melatonin has memory.
Right.
And it says that's how you get jet lagged, right? So when you travel from one place to the other, it's
because you have a set body rhythm,
even though there's no dim lighting, because your body has memory. When these three things come together, and of course we'll talk about how to achieve all of it.
Exactly. You know.
When these three things come together, there is no man who cannot really go to sleep. So your nervous system, the dim lighting, and the rhythm that you create for yourself.
Okay, fine. So we are going to break this down for us, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
So do you want to ask, or like should I just go into it?
Yeah. So I want to know, firstly, when you talk about dim lighting, okay, what do you mean? How dim? What kind of lights?
Okay. So we're going to talk about
all darkness. Yeah. You know,
we'll talk about all three of these, and then I'll also give you some other rituals, some easy hacks.
Yeah, easy hacks as well. I also want to know that even if the very important question when we talk about light, Nidhi, here is even if we have a nice, sweet, dim lighting in the room, do our phones interfere with that lighting, and what does it do to the melatonin in our brain? You know.
And that is actually exactly why I brought up dim lighting first. That is the first thing I brought up exactly for that reason.
And when you talk about, and one thing, I don't know if you're going to cover it later or not, but what I would like to know is that when we talk about slowing down our nervous system, this seems pretty obvious to everyone, right? Everyone is like, yeah, obviously you have to slow down your nervous system to go to sleep. How else are you going to go to sleep? You know, but the point is you don't know how. You know, so what I would want to ask you is, yes, the how of achieving the slowing down, and especially the definitely do not doze the 3 hours before you sleep. You know?
That's perfect. Yeah. So, those are all great questions.
And of course, you know, setting the rhythm and
yes, we'll talk about all of that. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Great.
Absolutely. Great. Okay. So first, let's address the dim lighting. Right. And when I say dim lighting, the reason also, of course, I brought it up is because of our phones, right? So your phone directly interferes with that. And it goes back. So I would say turning screens off. And I know it sounds very easy and obvious, but at least for 45 minutes before you go to sleep. You may not do a whole 3 hours, but you need 45 minutes of dim lighting, of not being on your phones, of not watching TV. A lot of people fall asleep to watching TV.
Exactly.
Till they really crash. So their nervous system in a way has slowed down, their body has slowed down, and the body just can't take it anymore. That is a very unhealthy kind of sleep. That's not rest and repair.
I mean, I think, but Nidhi, this is the most common thing, is to fall asleep while watching the TV these days, you know, because night is when you catch up on your shows, blah, blah. The one more issue I face, because I'm not a big TV person per se, but my phone, right? It's not about being on social media, that I get. But there's a lot of apps on the phone that you use, like meditation apps or different apps you sort of use to get into your nightly ritual. Or like if you have like a certain list of affirmations or a mind movie you want to play, it's all on the phone. So any ideas how we can like sort of plan this? Yeah.
Yes, and I'll also tell you about the room, how you can have dim lighting in the room, because it's extremely important. And I see that's all that's missing in a lot of people's lives. So firstly, right, let's say you're watching TV. Firstly, I don't keep a TV in my room. Like that's a strict rule for me that I don't keep a TV in my room. So you watch TV, so you're already giving yourself some time. But let's say you have watched some TV, at least make sure the lighting in the room is dim. Make sure there's some aromatherapy around you. So I'm a big believer of using lavender essential oil. Lavender essential oil is a really good thing. So you do other things, but also let's say that you are on that television. You want to have a breathing practice in between that TV watching time and going to sleep. Now, since you've already kind of aggravated that whole serotonin, which keeps you up, then you want to speed up the melatonin production, and breathing practices, even alternate nostril breathing or breathing awareness, just it's scientifically proven that is going to kind of trigger the sleep hormone much quicker. Now, whatever you can have not on your phone, right, Pinky? So if you can have your affirmations in a notebook, like this is my notebook, this is my affirmation notebook that I live with, right? So if you can put
it's all
whatever,
magical. Yeah, I love it.
So whatever you can put on a piece of pen and paper, do that firstly. Secondly, let's say you were to play a meditation on your phone. You're going to put it on airplane mode. It's an audio, right? It's an audio.
You don't have to look at the screen.
You don't have to look at the screen. Put the lighting very dim. Like literally take your phone, put it on the lowest brightness setting, right? But sitting and staring at your screen at night is not a good idea, right? For the mind movie, right? Like I will look at my mind movie first thing in the morning rather than looking at it at night, because I'm already producing that serotonin. Imagine your mind movie. I would say visualize it. But the importance of doing this, the reason why sleep is so important, right, Pinky? It's a free time for rest and repair. I mean, how much do we do for our health in the day, right? We try and eat this and chia seeds and methi seeds and all kinds of stuff. But if you can actually just get that from sleep, which is free. You want to be able, I cannot talk. So in Ayurveda, there are 3 pillars of life, right? There is food. There's not even medicines. There's not even herbs. Food, sleep, and appropriate use of your senses. So you want to give that sleep a lot of importance. Also, get blackouts. People are like, oh, because हमको आदत चाहिए कि लाइट में भी सोना चाहिए ना, इसमें लाइट में भी सो सकते हैं. नहीं सोना चाहिए, because आपकी बॉडी को वो आदत अच्छी नहीं लगती. Your body is that
you need that dark.
Your body needs that dark. It needs a melatonin hit. Unless you can really tune in your nervous system, like really track it, do the tracking on it, like Buddha, or you're really advanced meditator, like you guys are. It's a different story. Otherwise, support your body. Get blackouts, darken your room. But most importantly, right, Pinky, the problem is when people wake up at night. The reason also why I say this. When people wake up at night, the first thing they want to do is look at time. Dekhte na, digital clock mein time dekhte hain. That light, it goes on your pupil right away. And your brain is now even more confused, whether it's day or it's night.
So what kind of clock?
So I tell my clients, you don't need to look at the time. If your intention is to go, and I do this because, Pinky, I travel 3-4 times to India.
Of course, yeah.
And I have learned to crack my jet lag in 2 days or 3 days or even less. Because I'm like, even if I wake up at night, I'm not going to allow myself to open my eyes and look at the screen. Because the minute you've done that, the cause is lost. It's completely lost cause. So those are a few things for dim lighting that I would say. Most importantly, if you wake up in the middle of the night, I know it's very tempting to go on your screen, but do not go on your screen.
And give yourself at least 45 minutes before sleep time to no screen time.
And if you cannot do that for whatever reason, right? Some of us are doctors, and if you can't do that, then you do a breathing practice in between the screen time.
So when you talk about breathing practice, do you mean like Alom Vilom, alternative breathing, left in, right out, right in, left out?
I love that because that actually, does the tracking on your nervous system. Literally, it kind of makes that rhythm of your nervous system. But if you cannot do that, Just bring awareness to your breath.
Okay. And for how long about?
So I think it's different for each person. I feel like as you master it, the first day it may take you 15 minutes. Then let's say if you've really done this for a month, it'll take you 10 minutes. If you've done this for years, 2 minutes.
So until you feel your nervous system kind of settling down, right?
Yes. And your nervous system also develops a memory. It knows, hey, awareness is coming. It's time to go into that mode. Right. And Pinky, I just want to explain why that works.
Okay.
Right. So your body knows that the minute you're generating awareness to your body, you're in a safe place. Because if you're doing anything which has high engagement, whether it's running away from a tiger, whether it's scolding your children, whether it's shopping, it is anything that requires your high alertness, is your brain cannot focus on the breath. So the minute your brain is focusing on the breath, your body feels safe. They said, oh, nothing important is happening.
It's not in a fight and flight mode anymore.
It's not in a fight or flight mode, right? So I'm feeling safe. So the minute your body is feeling safe, it says, okay, now let's release this juicy melatonin and, let's chill. So your body can just directly go into chill mode. Right? And the reason I address dim lights first is because it often goes unnoticed. So I wanted to say, people want to have herbs and sleeping pills and all kinds of things before they even try these simple things.
I mean, many people these days, Nidhi, are taking actually melatonin supplements to go to sleep. Even when it's not about jet lag, like on a regular basis. If
on
not
a regular
sleeping
basis.
pills, melatonin supplements,
Yeah. I would say don't confuse your body because, melatonin and serotonin and that whole set of neurotransmitters really eat into each other, feed each other. And once in a while, if you take a supplement like melatonin, it's okay. Like you said, if you're jet lagged, right? But when you're going to get your body used to it, it's not even going to, and it's a partial function. For a lot of people, melatonin doesn't even work because it's going to your bloodstream. It's not happening the right way. God knows, along with melatonin, how many other neurotransmitters change their function, which we don't know.
So it's not necessarily the most healthy thing to do, to take melatonin
to take it on a regular basis.
On a regular basis, because your body has to be able to produce it on its own.
Yes. And it absolutely can. I mean, unless you're above 60, 65, I would say then it's harder for your body to change that pattern. But otherwise, there is no reason at all. Your body has everything it requires.
Okay. And now what about the second thing? Give me hacks on how we can slow down our nervous system.
So I'm going to do that third because that's the longest.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So the second one, I'm going to do the circadian rhythm, right? So one thing we all need to understand is that we are diurnal mammals, which means we wake up with the sun and we sleep with the sun. We are not bats. We are not owls. We don't stay up at night. Like, we've changed ourselves now. We've become nocturnal.
Many people have become bats and owls. Especially during COVID.
Exactly. No, for me, it's been the opposite. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. So, you definitely, we are not bats and owls. We are daytime mammals. Your body also has a certain rhythm. Of course, you can train your body whichever way you want. And having that memory, if you want to sleep at 11 every day, at least keep that only 25-minute window, that 11:25 or 10:45. Keep that range, not more than a 25-minute plus minus range. Right? Because your body needs that 25-30 minutes for that melatonin generation. You want to keep, if you sleep in that window, it's amazing. The other thing which people don't know, which is very interesting, is naturally your body falls into a sleep cycle anytime between 6 and 10. Okay. So a lot of people are like, we was feeling so sleepy at 8, 9, 10, and then suddenly we woke up. Right. So ideally, your body you should sleep. If you can sleep before 10 o'clock, it is incredible. And I'll tell you why, right? That time of the day is something called, in Ayurveda, it's called the Kafakal, which means it's the slow, sluggish time in the universe. You are naturally can produce more melatonin. Everything is slowing down. And if you allow yourself to fall asleep, even 10:30, say, your body is naturally going to go to rest and repair. If you stay up after 10, there is a second heat wave. So what happens at night, your workers come on in your cells and say, let's do cell repair. Like literally, it's like little workers. Imagine doing cell repair. And that is a hot process. So if you're awake, your nervous system is charged up again.
It's going to get wired up again.
Fully revved up between 10 and 2. Not only will it get fully revved up, you'll also feel hungry. Because now your body is consuming energy to not only stay awake, your body is also consuming energy for cellular repair. Both are trying to happen, and both will suffer.
Right.
So, between people who are awake between 10 and 2 inevitably will reach for a snack.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
So use the window. If you have a sleep problem, use the window opportunity between 6 and 10. Of course, nobody will sleep at 6, but like closer to 10.
Yeah. But let's say, Nidhi, it's, after 10. Like, how do we optimize that? Because, just to be practical for our viewers here, and
Absolutely.
sleeping at 10 is something that would be awesome. But I know I don't,
Right. So, and Pinky, it's also different.
Don't.
And it is different for us when we are younger, right? We can do a lot more. Our melatonin production is different. And I myself don't sleep at 10 most days. I don't sleep at 10, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay if you've learned to tune down your nervous system. But I'm going to talk about all three because you got to pick what you can. Right. There's a lot of people.
What is optimum for us?
Whatever is optimum for us. And for a lot of people, they are like, oh, wow, this is so simple for me. I can sleep at 9:30. I'm dying to sleep at 9:30. So they can just go to sleep at 9:30. But then I also want to say that what happens after 10 and 2, what happens is after 2 o'clock, your body goes into your nervous system doesn't rev up, but it becomes more noisy. It starts waking up. And that's why it's also kind of Brahma Muhurat around 4 o'clock. So most people, if they wake up, it's the Vata Kal, which means it's the windy time in your nervous system.
Right.
If you wake up...
What time is Vata Kal?
2 to 6 in the morning.
Right.
So a lot of people who wake up between 2 and 6 can't fall back asleep.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Yes.
It's much harder to fall back asleep between 2 and 6 because your body is naturally in the Vata Kal. It's very true. I've seen this with everybody in the world.
Right.
And of course, the first suggestion is use that time. It's a spiritual time. The energies in the universe are very subtle. Right. Even your brain develops a very subtle power at that point. Right. Of course, if you can study, meditate, read your scriptures, do all of that if you can. If not, now we will go into our third part, which is how to slow down your nervous system.
That's the main thing.
You can go back to that. Yeah. Right. And, people talk about that, Pinky, but you'll be surprised how many people actually get benefit. Like I work with people for sleep. A lot of people get their benefits from the first 2.
Right, absolutely.
Because these are things they have not heard about. Everybody thinks about the nervous system.
Yeah. Everyone thinks about you. Of course, there are like dim lighting, breathing before, even if you're going to watch TV, at least keep a little bit of a gap, do your breathing routine, do certain rituals and routines, which you're going to tell us. I totally get that,
Yeah.
And for those who can sleep by 10:30, it's optimal.
It's optimal. At least on days you can, right?
Yeah.
At least when you can. Like I have a cheat Saturday night, which is like real cheat Saturday night. Like it's not nowhere close to the window that it should be, right?
Yeah.
We all give ourselves those days, right? But we create as much routine and rhythm as we can. We do the best within this.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about the nervous system now.
Right.
Okay, so now with the nervous system, Pinky, I'm going to give you a few easy hacks, right? We spoke about the breathing. We spoke about, so now one of the things that really works very well is oiling your feet at night. Okay. I'm going to give you, so if you wash your feet and you oil it, right? Really rub nice oil under your feet and you put socks on. Yeah. That is actually it's a magical technique. And the way the visual I like to use on this one is it's like, the genie, the Aladdin, the lamp of the genie, suddenly the smoke goes in and, so it literally pulls that wind from your nervous system.
Right. What kind of oil?
Sesame oil is the best, right?
Yeah.
Sesame oil is really good. But if you can't use sesame oil, you can also use ghee.
Okay.
You don't have ghee, you can also use olive oil. So wash your feet.
Right.
There's a lot of nerve endings in your feet. Okay. When you shut that down, you're essentially shutting down the motion in your nervous system.
Right.
And you do that. Now, the thing is oil inside your ears.
Really?
Drops. So Karnapuran is something that you can do on a daily basis. It's a part of the daily regimen in Ayurveda. Okay. So you put a couple of drops of sesame oil in your ears, massage your ears, and then do this, cup your ears.
Right.
This again will very happily slow down your nervous system.
So you put the drops inside the cavity, right? The ear cavity.
Inside the cavity.
Right.
2 drops.
Okay.
A third thing, which is amazing, is I think it's sometimes more powerful than actually even sleeping pills, is using lavender essential oil on your wrists.
Okay.
So you can get good lavender essential oil, use it on your wrist. And then you take 4 deep breaths, 3 or 4 deep breaths like that. Even you can put it on your pillow. Now, it's research has been done that, the kind of effects it directly will trigger melatonin production.
Okay. Lavender will directly trigger.
Yes. Like no other essential oil. People are like, oh, I don't have lavender. I'm going to use peppermint. It's going to wake you up.
Okay.
I'm going to use bergamot, but it's not going to work.
Or there are a lot of these sleep sprays, but they might have a mix which will not necessarily, it'll be a good smell, but won't really do what needs to be done.
It will not do what it needs to be done. Lavender is, I would say, only pure 100% lavender essential oil.
Okay.
And there's the other thing, right, Pinky, which is great, is putting water sounds. Everybody, like I'm sure people can recall at some point in their life that it was raining nicely outside and they were sleeping very well inside.
It just feels,
It's so good. And I'll tell you why, right? Because when we are in a mother's womb, we are constantly hearing the blood flow through the arteries. That shh. There's a reason why a baby sleeps to shh. That's the sound you're used to rhythm in your mom's body when you're sleeping. Okay. We associate that with, and you're sleeping like a baby is for a reason, right? Because you're essentially sleeping in the womb. So our whole life, we associate that rhythm or that kind of rhythm. So I have a great sound called the mountain rain, and I play it in my room, especially when we are jet lagged. Oh my God, you sleep so well, you're drooling like a baby sometimes,
Where's that sound from? Is it like, do you purchase it or is it available?
Yeah, mine is on I bought it from iTunes, but I'm sure there's a lot of them. They're white noise. I mean, they're usually for babies, but the one I use is Crane and Taylor.
Okay.
Right? It's I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's Crane and Taylor.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, not on a daily basis, but when you feel like your nervous system needs extra help, you may not do all of this on a daily basis. To do lavender is easy. To put oil on your feet is easy. But, this, I personally reserve this sound for days that I feel like I need it. And you really will sleep deep because we've tried it. The first 15 minutes you're like, oh my God, this song is so annoying. I want to just like bash this person who gave me this idea. But the goal is you have to fall into a zone a little lower than that. You got to come down a little bit quieter. And then that really seeps into your nervous system.
Right. Then it sort of cancels out all the other noise in your brain, basically.
It cancels, basically, right? It cancels your nervous system. And that's again what melatonin does. It kind of cancels all the other noise in your brain. You go into that deep state. That transcendental state. And that's what you really want to go into.
So is this like any kind of white noise or particularly water sounds?
Water sounds, right? Now in Ayurveda, it's amazing. So many years ago, they said that the remedy, right? It's something called the remedy for heat in your nervous system is water sounds. So they recommended having water fountains or even water sounds or living near a river or whatever, all of that, right? So water sounds definitely help way more than any other sound.
Right. So water sounds, oil in your ears. What kind of oil in the ears?
Sesame oil.
Sesame oil, ghee or olive oil on the feet. Wash your feet, apply the oil, massage the oil, put socks on, right? And lavender on your pressure points in your wrist, right?
Absolutely.
Or on your pillow. So these are few of the hacks.
Right. And of course, I mean, there's a lot more, right? So I'll quickly go over some others, which are easy. I'm going to only talk about the ones that I feel like people can do. You can have a glass of warm milk with a pinch of nutmeg and elaichi, right? So I know a lot of people in India already know that, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but that's a tranquilizer essentially, right? So you want a tranquilizer. Secondly, you definitely want, if you don't have that, you have a concentrated chamomile tea. So I know you also get chamomile tea these days in India everywhere. You just have a little bit of water, but keep the tea bag in for long.
Okay, so concentrated form.
Concentrated. Also, the dinner you eat, right, Pinky, makes a huge difference. If you're going to have I eat everything, but I eat it for lunch.
Right.
Because the sun is the highest, your Agni is the best, eat it for lunch. When you eat a lot of spicy, heavy junk foods for dinner, your body is actually working that much longer to digest it. It's not sleeping. your body's like, अरे आज तो बहुत काम करना है.
Yeah.
कोई सो नहीं सकता है, अभी तो बहुत काम करना है, you know. It's like it's a long work day for your body, so it's not going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to eat that kind of healthy food.
Right.
I also do suggest some introspecting journaling practices at night.
Right. So if there's things on your mind, you sort of put it on the page and leave it there.
Leave it there. Exactly.
Rather than carry it in your brain, you know.
Exactly. You just, put down what you felt for the day, look at your goals for the day, allow yourself to unwind. If that is done right, I rarely have seen somebody who doesn't start sleeping well. That's one of the things that I've always seen. And I work with people, they put all of this into place. I always get how well they're sleeping. I have like so many testimonies that say, we slept like a baby. And I was like, that's what I wanted.
Yeah. I personally am super excited to start some of this, you know.
Yeah, of course.
It sounds really good. And, Nidhi was saying, like, it's about what you do in the day, right? So give us some quick, what should we be doing and what we should not be doing in the day to ensure that the night is, So definitely eating late, heavy, spicy, junky foods is not going to be conducive to good sleep,
Absolutely. See, you do everything you want till 6 o'clock. That's your time. We're all going to live. You do whatever you want till 6 o'clock.
Right.
Avoiding getting into heated arguments.
Yeah.
Starting a new project after 6. I mean, I know everybody waits for their husbands to come home. And they're like, "Arey, abhi to shuru hui hai party."
The kids are at home. We're not going to yell at them.
So guys, save that for the weekend, have a little yelling match on the weekend if you want, a weekend morning. But yeah, after 6 o'clock, you definitely want to not.
I can't argue at 6 o'clock.
I can't argue at 6 o'clock, 5:45 we'll start. 6 o'clock we have to stop. So after 6, the sounds, calming music, even before that, right? So turn on calming music in your house. That's in the background. You don't worry, your nervous system is listening to it, even if you're walking around. You don't have to sit and listen to it. So calming music. So after 6 o'clock, everything is loving to your body. Everything you do after 6:30. So, I mean, when I say that, it's assuming you're sleeping at 10. If you're sleeping at 11, you start at 7. But you want to do that 3 hours of love to your body, which is calming music, which is soft volume, which is dimmer lights. Also not starting anything new, which is going to take a lot of mental time. So if I have to write my content, I actually write it before 6, 7. Or I write it early in the morning. Because when you start something really new, then it takes up space in your nervous system.
It's that much more simulated.
And of course, generating emotions like gratitude, if that's easy for you and if you know how to do that, you want to start those practices towards the evening. You also want to move, Pinky. The one thing is people, it's very important for you to get exercise. Right, but not doing high intensity exercise.
So what about the people who only have time to exercise or work out in the evenings, Nidhi?
Work out in the evening, but don't do a lot of cardio, very high cardio for 2 hours before you sleep.
2 hours.
You can, you can, but then you won't get that same quality of sleep.
Right.
You won't, because your nervous system is too revved up. It's going to take a lot of time to settle down.
Yeah, but let's say you're aiming for a time of 10:30, 11, just to be practical.
Yeah, of course.
You can work out at like 7.
Yeah, 6:37, you go and get a workout, and you do that. Also, use some oil on your body if you can. Use some oil on your joints, use some oil on your body. What oil does, it literally mechanically goes and coats your nerves.
Right.
It seeps inside and it slows you down, So usually if you work out, you are going to shower in the evening if you're going to work out. Before you shower, just do a quick oil application. Abhyanga, self-abhyanga is a part of a daily regimen in Ayurveda too, is applying oil on your own body.
And again, what kind of oil?
So, actually Bombay is a little hot, so you can even do olive or coconut.
Okay.
Right? Bombay, you can do olive or coconut. Or there's Bala Guduchi Adi, that's a Ayurvedic oil. So I'm not going to get into that unless people specifically want that.
Want to know
but otherwise,
that. Okay.
Yeah.
And any kind of specific Ayurvedic herb or supplement other than
absolutely
that can help
absolutely sleep? Should I type it here so it's easier to understand and say it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jata, Mamsi, Bharad. So you make a tea out of it. So you get some.
So people who are really struggling, right now, I know there are a lot of people who are online with us. They're really struggling to hack the sleep, So
to get Jata Mamsi Bharad.
Okay.
Okay, and to make a tea out of it with half teaspoon in hot water and strain. But I will tell you, if you do all of this and you're drinking this tea looking at your screen, nothing is going to happen. Like you don't expect magic to happen, right? And when you take sleeping pills, they are very damaging. We all know that. But this works the same. This works as well. You just want to make sure that you're not on the screen looking and drinking a Jata Mamsi tea. Right?
And you can have it daily or just have it for a few days.
Yeah, you can have it daily for 6 weeks. And I'm hoping on 6 weeks this madness will stop. And then after 6 weeks as well, as and when you need it. But right now for 6 weeks you can.
But you have to incorporate a bit of all the other practices that you've said.
Otherwise, any solution you get will only work for a few days.
Right.
Even if it's a sleeping pill. Like I've seen a lot of people saying, oh my God, it used to work for even 10 years and now it doesn't work anymore.
Right. Absolutely. Because then your just brain is used to it.
Yeah. So, but doing all of this, right? Like I said, like I feel like I can really fall asleep. Even when I fly in the plane, Pinky, I'll carry my lavender essential oil. I'll carry chamomile tea bags. I mean, it's fun. You make a spa out of your own life.
Make a ritual out of it, basically.
Yeah. And keep it fun. It's not a punishment. It's a spa. And like your life has to feel like a spa. Anybody walks in like, oh my God, I want that life.
And after a while, I think that in itself, just doing those things starts signaling your brain, to sort of slow down, tune down your nervous system, all of that.
Absolutely. Your brain gets into a habit.
Just the whole ritual, Like for me, what really works is set rituals in the night and set rituals in the morning. And I've seen that when I move away from those, I feel all like not the same,
Absolutely. That's a great point you brought up, that your nervous system loves memory. It loves rituals. And it really works hard for that. So when you can give it a ritual, do that for bedtime and all of this, right? Like when I give people exactly that, your journal, drink your chamomile tea, put your oil on your feet, do your breathing. Before you know it, you're snoozing in your bed. Before you even know it, you're snoozing in your bed. And then if you wake up, do not look at your screens. Right. Just stay in bed. You can put another round of lavender essential oil. You can do another round of breathing.
Any quick hacks, like when you wake up in the middle of the night, because a lot of people go to sleep because they're tired from the day,
Yeah.
And then suddenly, like you said, at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., they're like wide awake.
Right. And I will tell you, if you're sleeping because you're just exhausted from the day, the chance of waking up are higher because your body has lower melatonin production. It's going to be like, we've run out. Okay. So long term, it's not going to work. You want to sleep because it's time. Your body is ready in a good way to sleep. But if you do wake up, short term, what can work, and long term, it can only work if you've done the right things in the day. Is this? Of course, you don't look at your phone. You do a second round of lavender essential oil. You do a second round of breathing. Okay. And you put on that sounds. If you've not slept with those sounds, you put on those sounds. Like that's what I do with.
The sounds can carry on all night long. Like you can just.
All night long. Okay. Everybody in your house will also sleep well. In other rooms also, they can, their nervous system will sense the sound and they'll sleep well. Also, bringing awareness to your breath. Right. That's a very easy hack. Only problem is it takes practice.
Yeah,
it's very annoying.
Happen. The first time you're going to be like, oh, am I doing it? What's going on? I can't get it. It's making me more agitated because I'm trying so hard. Sometimes that happens,
Absolutely. And Pinky, I just want to say one thing, that the good part, the bad part about taking medication is the more you take it, the harder, the later your body gets that same result.
Right.
With all these practices, the more you do it, the sooner your body gets the result. Right. The more you breathe, the faster it's going to do it. Your body knows signals that.
Right.
So
the more you do it.
Yeah. But with drugs, it's the opposite. The more you do it, the more immune you become to it. You're just like, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
But those work much faster. And I think it's amazing to have that.
Yeah. I mean, I think today I have learned things that I've never thought about also, Nidhi. So it's been great. And let's take some questions now from the participants.
So I click on the Q&A?
Or Keshav can do it for us.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So we have, what is Yog Nidra? How to wake up fresh, and a reason for the body's stiffness in the morning.
Okay, great questions. I will tell you. So Yog Nidra is again another practice to put yourself in a deep state. I'm not going to go a lot deeper into that, but it's that tracking of your nervous system. So it can slow down and it can fall asleep. The reason for body stiffness in the morning, between 6 and 10, again in the morning, it's Kafakal. Everybody's body is stiff because our joints naturally clog, your sinuses clog, everything clogs. Doing Nasya at night, which is nostril drops, Anutela in your nose, will help you not feeling congested here. At the same time, not eating very cold foods, not eating milkshakes, not having ice cream at night will help you. But remember, everybody's body is a little stiff. It's Kafakal of the day. The universe is stiff.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And if you want a more clarification on this, we will talk about it more.
All right.
Does the body need sleep or rest? Christopher, your body basically needs to be in a state, in a state which is, it's a particular kind of state where it's producing melatonin. Even deep levels of meditation provide melatonin. But if you think rest means nervous system rest. It does not mean just body rest.
Right.
Okay.
I had a question, Nidhi. So what about meditating in the night? Does that help?
Absolutely. Meditating, breathing, any practice, because again, what you're trying to tune your nervous system. The more you tune and track your nervous system, just think about those old TVs and the needed tracking. The more you do that, whether it's Yoga Nidra, whether it's breathing, whether it's meditation. The reason why I always talk about breathing is for a lot of people who don't have a meditation practice, Pinky.
It's much easier.
Breathing is free for us. It's available to us. We've done it our whole life.
Right. Absolutely. Okay.
Sorry. Nidhi, can you suggest any affirmation
for good sleep? Any affirmations for good sleep? What habit should start? Okay. So any affirmations, Nidhi?
Affirmation for good sleep is just, you basically, again, tell yourself whatever it is for you, right? You create your affirmation. It's very hard. Actually, it's a little dangerous for me to give an affirmation for somebody else because people have trigger words as well.
Right.
And you want whatever telling yourself, right? So for me, for example, when I was pregnant with my 2 children, Pinky, I had told myself that I'm just going to be a really good sleeper. I said, oh my God, pregnant women have sleeping issues. I'm going to sleep so well. So I kind of fooled myself and it worked.
And it worked, right. So you have to do what works for your mind, your brain. What are the words that are going to be self-soothing to you? I think that's what really helps you.
That's what really, really helps.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Is there any food?
Keshav, can you go down? Can we scroll?
Yeah, I can scroll. Somehow, Pinky, I have the accessibility.
You have the access, right?
So should I read the question first if not everybody can see it?
Yeah.
Is there any food that boosts the release of melatonin or other things that enhance melatonin release?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, so I'll tell you, having, of course, like we said, milk with the nutmeg, right? That itself is a tranquilizer. Any tranquilizer will help you boost melatonin. The other things are warmer soups in the evening. Right. If something is liquid and warm, right? Not very.
It gives that comfort. Yeah.
It gives comfort. Every time you have comfort, you're going to help melatonin production. Believe it or not, it's not as crazy. It's not that rocket science. Right. As long as your foods are warm and they are liquid, even like a thin dal or like a thin soup will help you much more than that.
Okay.
Bhramari work, good for sleep, yes, but not too many rounds of Bhramari. Too many rounds of Bhramari can actually wake you up.
Okay. What is Bhramari?
It's a pranayam.
Right, the bees buzzing.
The bumblebee. Yes.
Right?
More than, even if you do just 3 rounds of Bhramari, you just want to cover your ears like that after that.
Right.
So you contain that energy in your nervous system. A lot of times people use Bhramari to actually go and rev up their nervous systems as well.
Right. I see one question here. Is 6 hours of sleep enough?
What's the ideal time to sleep? That's one. And is 6 hours enough?
I mean, ideal time, we've covered it, but 6 hours of sleep, is that enough?
So there are 3
What's
different.
Enough? Yeah.
Right. So there's 3 different body types, right? And, a person who's naturally sluggish actually needs less sleep.
Right. Okay.
Right. But 6 hours is generally not enough for anybody unless whatever you don't cover in sleep, you have to cover in meditation.
Correct. Yes.
So if you sleep for 6 hours and wake up to meditate for an hour, everybody needs different sleeps, but the only thing I can tell you, if your body is a naturally sluggish body, you need actually less sleep. You need to have more awake hours. If you're naturally, a nervous system is always here and there, here, you need more sleep. If you're a hot body, angry, focused, sharp, you need moderate amounts of sleep. Right? So ideally, it's waking up half an hour before sunset for the sluggish person, waking up half an hour after sunrise for the mentally active person, and waking up at sunrise for the hot, focused person.
Right.
Oh, is there a habit of drinking water?
Yeah.
Once in night between 2 to 4. Is this a good or a bad sign? And if not, getting good sleep after that. If it's between 2 and 4, it's the dry time of the night. Yeah. And when it's the dry time of the night, then of course you can have that urge to drink water. But if you kind of cover that in the day, if you look after that time in the day, it's going to prevent you from waking up to doing that at night. Right? So it's not a good or a bad thing. If you really need it, take a sip or two. It's not, it's really not going to create that much damage.
Right.
And we already spoke about some of the things you can do to put yourself back to sleep.
Yeah. And if you're waking up parched, like absolutely thirsty, then there is an issue, right? I mean, you have to look at
there is definitely something happening in your system.
Yeah.
What about putting coconut oil on your navel and massaging in the clockwise and anti-clockwise direction? That is actually more for the Agni to do that. To kind of settle down your Agni, unless you have something going on with your digestion. That's not some things are parts of Dincharya and Ratricharya, which is done in the day and the night. This is not one of them. So I'm not sure how that's.
Right. Okay.
The navel is not. Yes.
It's the feet that we need to.
Yes, the feet and the ears.
Yeah. And again, it's someone is asking again the workout question, that if you worked out 6:30 to 7:30, 7:45, what can you do to calm down?
So again, right, you definitely firstly want to use oil before you go for a bath. You definitely, I keep losing this. I don't know where those questions have gone. So because I think more questions keep coming.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, so you want to definitely use oil. You do the same practices essentially.
Right. Yeah.
There is no new. At least make sure that after that point, you really stay in dim light. You really don't have less conversation. Silence, mourn is also really, really helpful.
Nidhi, what about, sometimes this helps me. I don't know if it's an Ayurvedic principle or it can work on you.
Yeah, anything that works is Ayurvedic.
I'm not the expert. You are the expert. Yeah. But right after my workout, I like to, especially if it's been a high intensity one, I like to just sit down. Maybe find some open space or something and take like just 20 deep breaths right after I go to sleep, finish my workout, that sort of really helps calm me down.
Absolutely. That's like Shavasana, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
There is a reason why Yogasana helps with Shavasana.
Yeah.
Right. So you definitely want to do Shavasana.
Yeah.
After that,
So I think for those who are working out in the evening, you guys can try that tip, just
absolutely
immediately after your workout, so that you sort of disconnect from that chaotic energy and sort of really soothe yourself down.
Yeah, absolutely. Any kind of breath work. Also putting your legs up against the wall, Viparit Karni, for those who understand it, and letting that blood flow towards your brain, and then doing the breathing practice with that. I mean, breath is your best friend. If you can conquer that breath, and understand those breathing practices and bringing awareness and deep breathing, it does something pretty magical. Because especially full breaths, I want to say the way they work, if this is your spine and this is your brain, a full breath and this is the region actually where all of this melatonin, serotonin production is happening at the base of your brain, at the top of your spine.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just making this your brain and spine.
Okay. Got it. At the base, this is your brain. So this
is the base of your brain is where this kind of activity is happening in your hippocampus, And then when you breathe in deep, you are allowing the fluid from your spine to actually go and stimulate that region.
Right.
And that's when you can do all kinds of magic.
Right.
So there is a science behind that.
Right.
Right. I have
name of the tea again also. Okay.
Jata Mamsi. It's in the chat if anybody wants to go to the chat. JATAMAMSI. Get the root of the tea.
And also, if any of you all want all of these answers typed out, then just send us your email ID and we'll just type out sort of the summary of this and send it.
Okay.
What about when you wake up with fear and anxiety?
So I'll tell you, I was saying that in my earlier live this week. And, Pinky, I did that for years. I woke up with fear in my heart. And that has to be addressed also in the day. That is not to do so much with sleep. It can be the reason why it comes up in the morning is because your subconscious, which is carrying all of these emotions, which we are suppressing in the day because we're getting busy.
Which is distracting ourselves.
It's like the child, acha, abhi mummy free, abhi main mummy ko tang karne wala hu, So at night, when it sees now you're not doing any work, so it wants to come and knock on your brain and say, please help me now, can you please help me? And then it comes up. It's your bodies, it's your nervous system saying, address something that has gone unaddressed. And so, while all of...
So how would you address your fear?
Right. So, of course, I mean, I'm a big advocate of therapy. And I'll tell you why. The whole Bhagavad Gita was written on a therapy session that Arjun and Krishna had.
And Krishna had. Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
And of course, this one can be a whole another live, but you at least want to start off with journaling your feelings. And the topic is so vast, Pinky,
that I'm not going to get into it. I know, Nidhi.
Yeah.
But, I know that it would come up in people's minds that, okay, but, I have this fear and I'm busy in the day and then it comes up in the night and how do I handle it,
But
so
guys,
I think for a short answer, I think therapy is a very good answer.
Journaling and therapy. There are specific scientific reasons for why therapy works. I think somebody had this question about the oil in the ears not being scientific, and I'm finding it amazing, Pinky, that if you see all of the concepts today here, whether it's intermittent fasting, whether it's oil pulling here in the US, which people have gone mad about, or tongue scraping, or, I mean,
everything is original Ayurveda.
And honestly, Ayurveda is a science like physics, biology. Nobody is taking credit, whether it's India or not, for biology. That is the truth of the world. It's just the truth of the world. So all of these things which were written because you were so deeply in touch with your subconscious mind, like even an animal, a squirrel that is born knows gravity. Nobody has to say कि तुम गिर जाओगे पेड़ से.
Learn how to handle gravity. It's
because we know intuitively. These shastras were written with that knowing. Right? It's when the Western science uses five senses to prove principles. These were written with six senses.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's just the different what you're using, six senses or five senses. In the five senses world, these become very hard to believe.
Also, Nidhi, when people, six senses, I totally agree with you. But also what people need to understand is it was also written when people knew how to live with the rhythms of nature, and rhythms of their own body, And this is what nature taught them how to do. This is what their body taught them how to do. And this is something they put down. So sometimes it was just very simple and very intuitive. It was the body's body talking to them,
Absolutely.
Rather, so all of this was done at that time.
At that time, when we were able to look within, just how we look outside today. The same way, there was a world reality outside and a reality inside. And we were living like that. Today, we are living in the reality outside. We are forgetting the reality inside. And luckily, you have things like Thriive that really help and support people to find that back.
Find the right tools, combine the right tools,
Yeah, because that's where the magic lies.
Any more questions you want to take, Nidhi?
You tell me which ones to take. Sometimes I feel sleep jerks. Oil massage, anonymous attendee. You feel jerks? Yeah, you need to do Abhyanga in the day, every day. I would ask you to look up on Google a good Abhyanga practice.
So if you want to do Abhyanga, and if you're suffering from sleep issues, would you do it in the night or would you do it in the day, or it doesn't matter?
In the day. So in the night, you do Pada Abhyanga. Oh, if we forgot about Shiro Pichu, I want to definitely say putting oil on the top of your head here is a really great way. A lot of people just solve their sleep problems by putting a gauze of oil and keeping it here. But you can't put coconut oil for that because it's too cooling. You can put for your head, you can put any of India has a lot of good hair oils. You can use that. And the top here, put a gauze, just put it here. You can tie it with a bandana or whatever and go to sleep.
Okay. So the gauze should stay. You can't just rub a little bit on the top.
You can. If it stays, it's better. But otherwise, you can just, have it. You have a bandana. You have something. Even closing your ears, because you put oil, you close your ears. You're shutting down all these senses from their function.
Okay.
Right? So that definitely helps. At night, you can do Karna Abhyanga. You can do Siro and Pada. Just these three.
So that's ear, top of the head, and bottom of the feet.
Yeah.
Okay. How many hours is ideal for sleeping? Again, you discussed that depending on the body type. We are now addicted to the screen. How to get away from that?
Addiction.
I think I need to do a talk on how to get out of screen addiction. I think I need to do that.
I am telling you, I actually did, had a post yesterday about food addiction, and it all works the same way. It was on my Instagram. If anybody wants to check it out, it's about, how you can deal. We're usually addicted to things because we're running away from some other feeling, which we need to address. And there is a way you can do that simply without it being too complicated. Okay. There's one thing that I wanted to answer. They're sleeping in the afternoon, hinder at night. Unless you have a job. So like even Ayurveda, that's so nicely clearly said. Unless you're doing something which is very strenuous or which is keeping you, awake at night. You don't want to sleep in the afternoon. Nobody needs to sleep in the afternoon unless you're sick or you're really old or you have stayed up jagaran at night.
Right. I want to ask this question. The next person is asking also. Would you recommend reading before bed?
Yes, absolutely. If you can, but not on your Kindle, not on your phone. People say, yes, I read like 25 social media posts, not that. Because what happens is, right, like your vision becomes very narrow when you read.
Right.
And again, then your pupils kind of become smaller. It kind of goes back and says that from your wide view that you had in the day, now you've got a narrow view in a dim page.
Right. On a very dim page. So even what about if you're reading Kindle on a very dim setting? Because Kindle doesn't have the same blue light
that the thing has. It might work, Pinky.
Yeah.
But if you can get something else, great.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't, then
book,
yes. And like again, the logic is that from that wide angle view, now your eyes have a narrow angle view and it kind of focuses in.
Right. Because then if you are using an actual book, then you would need a brighter light to read the book, and you can't be in equally dim lighting.
Yeah.
So I guess it's what works maybe.
I mean, look, none of this are hard and fast. You're still going to live. It shouldn't stress you out to do any of it. Do only what is not stressful. I mean, you'll create more stress in your life, right? But do something. Don't be completely on the other side as well.
Again, someone has said, I make notes on my iPad. Again, it's the same thing, guys. Try and use the notebook. Try and use a paper pad, like an actual book.
And the lawyer who's here, listen, my heart goes out to you. I would say you definitely do the Jatamamsi, do the foot massage, do the ear, do the Shiropichu. Train your body, do a breathing practice. You'll have to do all of this. You're training your body like a switch. Like how when I get on the plane, it's trained, So you have to train your body you need a proper routine. You can't just be like, oh my God, I fought a case and I'm tired, I'm exhausted.
I mean, there are people in these kind of professions, like this is very legitimate, as is if somebody's a doctor and they're up all hours of the night. Somebody just due to business is traveling through a lot of different time zones. I mean, for all those people, what you're trying to say is just put all the practices together, right? And
absolutely.
And those will help you train your body like a sleep machine.
Absolutely. And if you have to pick 5 practices, I just want to say it really quickly. Do the foot massage, do the ear, the head, the lavender essential oil, and the Jatamamsi.
Okay.
If you really want a hardcore, if you really, or the breathing. If you don't want to take an herb, do the breathing, right? These are all very easy to do. You can do it while you're sitting in your bed and you don't have to even get in the kitchen.
Right.
How much quantity? Start with 1/4 teaspoon or half teaspoon of Jatamamsi. In 1 cup of hot water, strain it after 5 minutes. What is the sound that you put? Mountain Rain. Mine is by Crane and Taylor. MOU, Mountain Rain by Crane and Taylor. But you can find many other. Use a pen and paper if you can instead of your iPad to make notes. 3 a.m. is wake up time. I'm in my bed at 11:30 p.m. doing meditation, but no idea I'm getting proper sleep or not. If you're doing meditation, Manjari, and if you're going in a sleep, your body is doing this. If you're going in a state, your body is doing the same job. Then even if you're not getting sleep, but if you're waking up at 3 a.m., you definitely have something called vata aggravation that can be helped. How to cover sleep in less time? You need a deeper sleep. If you cover in less time, avoid it. But the deeper sleep, all of these ideas will give you deeper sleep.
Right.
Should the sleeping room be completely dark or dim light should be there? So completely dark, as much as possible. Look, mine has dim light, but I'm used to it. I can sleep with it because I do everything else for my sleep.
Right.
But if you're not sleeping well, the first thing you want to do, also keeping the room a little bit cooler and using a heavier blanket, because vata, which is the enemy of sleep, vata needs a heavy blanket. Keep the room a little cool, use a heavy blanket. It's a very simple technique. Don't share blankets. Using rajai even in the summer and having a room cooler if you can is a better way. Anonymous attendee who has a few questions, I will tell you that do it. Journaling tips for the night. Write down feelings that made you uncomfortable in the day. Think about where you felt them in the body, and then you just say, I'm surrendering these feelings for now. May whatever I need to learn from it come up. You don't have to do a full-on journaling. I woke up, I went to tea, and I did this, and you don't have to do that. Just the dominant uncomfortable feelings. And also write 3 things that were good for you in the day. The 3 comfortable feelings or moments in the day.
Right.
Both. How you calm yourself without irritation, all of these things would help. Bad memory, bad concentration issues I'm having. Shalija, again, you need to do exactly what we spoke about, Shalija, is these routines.
Guys, send us your email. Everyone send us Thrive the emails, and we'll try and compile all of this and send it to you. Nidhi, you just have a look at this before,
You definitely, you do detoxify your body in sleep. Yes, you do that. If we wake up 3 in the morning, what is to be done? We already spoke about that. Get to 2 more pranayam, half physiotherapy, and wake up. I sleep at 12, wake up at 7 was the ideal time. Don't you worry. If you have a profession that keeps you like this, do what you need to do. Have a sleep routine.
And know that you can train yourself. Just understand that you can train yourself. You don't have to fall victim to your profession, like, oh my God, now I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer,
you're doomed.
I have a night shift, I'm just doomed and there's nothing, and now my body cannot get the rest and recovery it needs,
she's so right.
Don't it's a victim consciousness, so I think what's important is to just tell yourself there is tips and there's hacks, and you can train your body to sleep and get the rest it needs.
Absolutely. Whenever you have any profession which keeps you busy, even mothers are busy, brand new mommy busy. Train your body to get into the quick, get that melatonin switch on.
Right.
Do it quickly. Don't get overly engaged right before bed.
Right. Yeah. So everyone who's still listening, if you want to connect to Nidhi, then please visit her Instagram.
Wow, there's so many more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, let's do that.
Yeah, and also you can check out her profile page on Thrive India as well. So you can connect with her, chat with her via the Thrive platform also. Also, you can check out her Instagram, and stay tuned to this channel almost 5 p.m. Same Zoom ID, same Facebook, same YouTube at 5. Every evening we're doing something interesting. Tomorrow Shreyans is back on again with his breath work, which incidentally also, if you do repeated breath work, can also help with sleep. What do you think about that, Nidhi?
Oh, 100%, right? Because that repeated breath work is taking off all of that subconscious, that waking up with fear, all of those fears in your subconscious mechanically kind of like are taken away. And
there are blocks in your system, guys. It's trauma that you carry, which ultimately affects sleep. So if you can come to certain practices, even in the day, or in the course of your week and month, that can sort of help you overcome your internal trauma, which is very important. I think all of us have it at some level or the other, some levels of fear and anxiety, which really affect sleep.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know some of these things sounded very easy and mechanical that I said, but try them. I have seen them work over and over again.
I trust
You
you,
know,
Nidhi.
yeah, no, yeah, they really do. I mean, I actually say that if I work with people, I can make an owl sleep at night when people, as long as people follow the protocol. And it will, these are few easy hacks that I gave you all. It's different from case to case basis. You know, like if you're a lawyer or whatever, but like Pinky said, at the end of the day, you're just learning to train your body.
And guys, if you want a full-blown consultation with Nidhi, it's my personal recommendation. She is fantastic. Everything that she says, it may sound simple, but it really works. You can connect with her, like I said, on the Thrive platform. You can go chat or connect with her, send her a message through that, or go on her Instagram, DM her, and you can even book a consultation with her.
So, thank you, Pinky.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks, Nidhi, for taking out
Good
your
night,
morning
everybody.
time.
Good night, everybody. I hope you guys sleep well tonight.
Sleep well and good night. And good day to you, Nidhi. Thank you so much for offering your words of wisdom.
Of course. Thank you, Pinky. Thank you so much.
Bye. And thanks everyone for tuning in.